The second stage of cellular respiration is the Krebs cycle. So the first stage was glycolysis, considered to be the anaerobic stage because no oxygen is required and glucose is broken down into two pyruvic acid molecules, and we end up with a net gain of 2 ATP because two were actually used in the process, four were made, and then two were used. So the Krebs cycle is the next stage, and here we have what the Krebs cycle looks like. Remember that the pyruvic acid up here, and this is our 3-carbon molecule up here, we have two of those, so this cycle is actually going to happen twice, and those pyruvic acid molecules are going to be a result from their products of the glycolysis cycle, and they're going to be transported into the mitochondria where the Krebs cycle takes place inside the matrix from the cytoplasm outside the mitochondria. So because there are, like I said, two molecules of pyruvic acid, for every molecule of glucose, that means the Krebs cycle is going to have to take place twice because we get two pyruvic acid molecules. Now, the reactants here, we have the pyruvic acid cycle, or acid molecules, and you see that we have 3 NAD plus molecules being put in, and remember those are going to be electron acceptors, and we're going to get 3 NADH molecules, so those are going to actually carry those electrons that are produced from the breakdown of these pyruvic acid molecules over to the electron transport chain. We also end up with some ATP, okay, because ADP plus a phosphate is going to create our ATP, and our FAD, another molecule, is going to accept electrons and become FADH2. So from this reaction, we actually end up producing carbon dioxide, and that carbon dioxide is going to exit the body when it gets diffused into the bloodstream, then goes back to the lungs, and we exhale. So we bring oxygen in, which gets into our bloodstream through inhalation, and then exhalation will get rid of the carbon dioxide. And when we do the body systems, we'll look at how that process happens a little closer. So even though cellular respiration is different than uh, breathing, it's still related somewhat. And the overall purpose of the Krebs cycle is actually going to be to provide energy for the electron transport chain, which is going to be the main provider of the ATP from cellular respiration. So if we look at it this way, glycolysis broke down the glucose molecule into two pyruvic acid molecules, and the Krebs cycle is now going to further break down that glucose in the form of the pyruvic acid to produce some ATP. Now we had glycolysis, and we produced the NADH, which will go to the electron transport chain, ATP for the cell, and the two pyruvic acids. Now those two pyruvic acids are going to be the reactants of the Krebs cycle, all right, and then we end up with more ATP. We give off carbon dioxide. We have NADH and FADH2, which are going to carry electrons over to the electron transport chain. This process does not use any ATP, and it makes two more ATP. So we have a net gain of 2.